talking Green Bay Packer recap. Are you with us, Troy?
Yeah, with some technical difficulties. I am here. I am.
Cool.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. My phone would not recognize the PIN number.
Yeah, it's quite annoying. We're about now 2 minutes in, and so I guess we could, as I said, we're here to recap the Packer-Bear game and the Packers' victory over the Bears. As we know, the Packers beat the Bears after Aaron Rodgers' 4th and 8 touchdown pass to Randall Cobb. And just how incredible was that play for you?
Oh, it was amazing. I actually hurt my back. I guess I'm a little bit out of shape when I jumped off my couch in my man cave. I have a little sore lower back going on today. So it was just amazing to be able to see him make that play. We had talked about how Randall Cobb would affect this game. And as I watched the replay, it was just evident the Bears were trying to take away the first down on that 4th down play. And that communication, that goes back to the months of practice, the communication that Randall Cobb and Aaron Rodgers have. They're on the same page. Neither of them have played in a game. Randall Cobb has been out 11 weeks. Rodgers was out 7 weeks. But they didn't look like they missed a beat. And I'm glad they had Randall Cobb in at the end of the game. He just ran by the guy, put his hand up. Rodgers got pressured, rolled out, and let it go. So it was just unbelievable to see that play. But, the way that we go, I mean, it was just amazing to see that win. But to be honest, I'm not sure if it should have got to that. There's a lot of things I saw during the game that I thought we could have done better. A lot of things that we have to fix before we go into the playoffs. We'll definitely talk about that, some today, some in the recap on Thursday. But, take it away, recap, some of the key points in the game, and we can discuss some of those things as we move forward.
Well, I think the big key point is just Rodgers working to get comfortable out there. He, I wouldn't say it was rusty, but he didn't look very comfortable at the start of the game. Some of his passes were getting a little high, and Nelson should have caught it, but the second interception, he threw a little bit behind Nelson that he had to turn back for the ball. But I think that was probably the biggest key, is just Rodgers trying to get comfortable with being back out on the field after missing so much time. Now, as Rodgers got comfortable, Packers got better and better as the game went on, and really the only thing that stopped the Packers moving the football was themselves. They moved the ball into the red zone on the first play. In the first series, ended with an interception. I believe the second series ended on an interception, and just as more comfortable as Rodgers got, the better he got. And I think that was, as I said, that was key. And then Randall Cobb, he seemed to get a little bit more comfortable. He didn't play a lot of snaps, but he made a big impact with scoring 2 touchdowns. So Packers got down 7-0 early, went up 13-7 at halftime, got a 28-20 deficit into the 4th. They scored a touchdown, went for the 1-point conversion instead of the 2, got down by 1, and then after a big defensive stop, Packers, had that big pass to Cobb that won the game, and then they ended it with an interception, which, I'm not going to say it's going to be 2010 all over again, but that interception was like it was 2010 all over again with Shields going up for that interception on Marshall.
Yeah, there are some similarities, especially with the injuries, isn't there? And there was, that 2010 season, did teams not question our defensive ability to stop everybody? I believe the same thing came out in 2010. And the one thing, and it's not even defensively. I thought defensively we got put into bad situations. You and I talked about this last week, Evan. The last point, was it not special teams? Was special teams not something that we talked about?
Yeah, that was a key in the going into the game.
And so I know what Mastay was trying to do on that punt. I thought he actually had the right kind of punt. End over end, hoping the ball's going to bounce and Hester doesn't get a return. Well, Hester's too good. The ball bounced right in his hands, and I don't know if our special teams was just kind of going down there hoping that he wouldn't get the ball. But he got the ball, went to his left, and 49 yards later, they're scoring a touchdown. And that's the one thing when I watch yesterday's game, we've got to really tighten up. And we can't give up yardage on special teams, especially there, because that was the beginning of the half and a 3-and-out. And I really was disappointed in that 3-and-out right there because we didn't move the ball, we didn't change field position, gave up a huge return. My confidence at that point, Evan, was a little bit shaky because I'm thinking now they get a big stop at 3-and-out, we give up a big return, they score. The momentum had shifted a little bit. But then we came back, we drove the ball. I was never really worried offensively, even with Rodgers throwing those interceptions. You could tell when he walked off the field, he was upset with himself, but his confidence didn't waver. And so I never really felt like we couldn't score. I was more worried about the special teams and the defense being able to stop them because, again, Forte ran well. He ran very well yesterday. And that's going to be a concern of us going into Sunday against Frank Gore because he can run the ball. But what were some of the things that you saw in this game, Evan, that, maybe a turning key, something that went really well where you finally said, I think we now might have control of this game? Where was that key for you?
Well, I think I'll start with, you're talking about concern. I think I'll start with Dak going to San Francisco. The biggest concern I had in this game, I had watching it, was the lack of push from the defensive line. Now, that's something that they're going to have to get cleaned up in order to stop Frank Gore and stop Kaepernick, because it's all about lane. You have to protect your lane, protect your gap when you play a quarterback like Kaepernick and a running back like Gore. So that's something they're going to have to get cleaned up big time, especially with Mike Neo, who did not do really well covering that. But I think what I really stood out, I think when we took control of the game, is when James Starks really got going. He ended the game with 88 yards on 11 carries with a 41-yard long, and he was running angry. He was running really angry, really moving piles, running people over, going around people. And, because Lacey had a rough day, and I think the ankle had a lot to do with that. But when James Starks started to get going, when he started to, play well, I had a good feeling about the game. Because, we had to run on the Bears in order to win the game, and that's what we were able to do. So Starks turning it on, and then Nelson had a huge day with 10 catches and 161 yards. And it's like Rodgers and Nelson never missed a beat. So, I even with that punt return that Hester had, it was a 49-yard return. It was his only return of the day. I stayed positive during the game, knowing that the Bears couldn't stop the Packers. What the Packers had to find a way to do was somehow slow down the Bears, and Jeffrey's fumble was key. Cutler's interception was key, and some players on defense made big plays at the right time. Morgan Burnett, he had, in my opinion, didn't have the best game out there, but he had a huge play deflecting the pass right towards the end of the game there that, Cutler heaved into the end zone. He got a handout and knocked it away. I think Mike Gahai played really well, and Mulamba really impressed me too. So not really one thing stood out to me, but I guess it would just be James Starks and just some guys on defense stepping up.
I think the play, Evan, for me, there was a play that sticks out to me, and it was when the Bears were coming down. And do you remember the play when Jeffries had the ball and dropped it when the coverage was good and he out jumped, ball hit him in the hands and fell to the ground?
Yeah.
At that point, that's when that was when I thought right there, if they didn't make that play, and I thought right there, okay, here's our chance now to take control of this game. When we got the ball back, I thought that we were going to move down and actually be able to kick a field goal. My concern there is I wanted him to be able to go down and take enough time off the clock, and we got the touchdown. That was great. That was even better. But when we got that ball for that drive, and I know we had one timeout left, My concern was getting into field goal range and too much time on the clock because then our defense has to make a stop. I didn't trust our defense to give them the ball back to make a stop. They did at the end. There's 38 seconds. They were moving down. We got the interception. That's what they needed to do. And like you said, that interception at the end, I know he heaved it up, but the way that he just went up and grabbed it out of the air, there was no nervousness. They knew what they had to do. This, I think, was a huge confidence builder. And to be honest, when I go back to the first game of the season when the 49ers came in, it's not like they blew us out of the park. I know Kaepernick did some stuff, but offensively, people are going to say the 49ers are playing great defense and so on. But you could just tell in this game yesterday, Evan, and correct me if you think I'm wrong, but offensively, it looked like we turned 5 pages forward from the last 7 weeks. Things were opening up. Seemed like the blocking was a little bit different. The routes were crisper. The ball was coming out of his hand. We were moving the ball. My only concern is red zone efficiency. And we were talking about that when Rodgers...
That seemed to have been a concern all year.
Yeah, you and I were talking about that when Rodgers was healthy. But to me, it looked like the offense had a mission. They were crisp, and they knew what they wanted to do. I had no nervousness on the offensive side of the ball. How about you?
I didn't have too much nerves on the offensive side. Even with Rodgers' interceptions, I wasn't too concerned. I was just more worried about the defense being able to make a stop. And you brought up the last time you played the 49ers. Other than Kaepernick and Antoine Bowden, no one else on the 49ers defense did anything. And the Packers had 200-yard receivers. Rodgers had over 300 yards passing. It was Lacey's first NFL game. Jeremy Ross did a horrible job at returning kicks. He put them in bad position on the field. So the Packers didn't play a horrible game against the 49ers last time. They went toe-to-toe with the 49ers, losing 34-28. Now we'll give a preview on Thursday, previewing the Packers 49er playoff game. But Lacey is going a lot better, even with the tender ankle. Starks is turning it on, which, even in training camp, people were wondering if Starks is even going to make the team. He ended up leading the team in rushing yesterday. And, Rodgers and Nelson didn't look like they missed a beat yesterday. So I think they're in prime position to make some noise against San Francisco next week. It'll be a very interesting game, but the defensive line has to play better. Raji got credited with 1 tackle yesterday, and the tackle that he got, he was driven off the ball about 2 or 3 yards off the ball, and he ended up able to recover and got a tackle on it. But the D-line, Raji had 1 tackle, Daniels had 1 tackle, Boyd had 1 tackle, Pickett had 3 tackles. That's your defensive line right there, the only guys that registered tackles on the D-line. And that's the reason why Forte yesterday was able to do whatever he wanted whenever he got the ball. Now, the D-line has to step it up, and they have to contain their gaps, and they have to get pressure up the middle. They allowed, Cutler wanted to yesterday. He could have tucked it and ran a couple of times for first downs, especially on the interception that he had. But he was very hesitant to tuck it and run. And we all know that Kaepernick would not be hesitant to run. And then, one comment I want to make is I don't get the Bears play calling on that last series. They had one play that Marshall dropped the ball over the middle that was about a 15-yard pass play, but the other 2 plays were just everyone run vertical routes and let's heave it to the end zone. If the Bears would have actually tried to advance the ball a little more with that timeout, they could have possibly done a little bit more damage there.
No, I agree. I don't know what they were thinking. I was okay with it, though. You want to go deep to the end zone from 45 yards? That's fine. Go for it. Because at that point, I'm like, whatever. Because the middle of the field was wide open. They were going to give them that underneath stuff. And that was my concern. If they kept moving the chains, all of a sudden it's going to be 1st and 10 from the 20 with 1 timeout and 15 seconds to go, and something bad might happen. So I was totally fine with them heaving it up. But again, it's those things, like you said, What were they thinking at that point? Even the defensive play calling. I know that they were getting us into fourth downs, and we had to convert fourth downs. But that last touchdown play, that guy was totally just playing the marker, and Cobb ran by him. It was like...
Yeah, that's Conte.
What are you doing
remember
there?
What I said about Conte on Thursday's show? I think you remember what I said about Conte, one of the worst safeties I've ever seen play the game.
Yeah, I actually thought about you when he had that interception. I'm like, really? The guy that Evan said was the worst safety just got an interception? And that's why I kind of went, really? And when I watched the play, really I thought that right there, and I even said it to one of my coworkers today, is that was the first drive. I think that was Rodgers just not having the game, missing those 7 games. I think once he got his feet under him, his vision was better. I think what he saw is he saw the white, and he wasn't really doing the normal Rodgers look that he does, and he just missed him. I mean, he thought he had him.
Yeah.
And as the game went on, like you said, I thought Rodgers got more comfortable. That second interception that was given up, to be honest, 9 times out of 10, Jordy Nelson makes that catch, even though it was behind him.
Yeah.
I wasn't one of those interceptions where I got extremely upset, like, oh my God, you got to be kidding me, because Jordy Nelson normally makes that catch. He was hoping for it in front of him. It was behind him, went up, got his hands on it. Oh well, bounced off his hands. The one thing offensively, Evan, that I want to discuss with you, and I want to get your take on this. I noticed a lot of we talked about this when Rodgers was not in. Matt Flynn wasn't doing this, and that was that pitch to Lacy, the pitch outside. Yesterday, though, I thought we did it too much. I wish we would have ran in between the tackles more, because that's where Starks got his 41-yard gain. Lacy was getting some yardage in there, and I know why they were doing it. I just thought we went to the well 1 or 2 times too many with that pitch outside, but I know why they were trying it. But what are your thoughts on that? I like the play, don't get me wrong. I just thought we went to the well a few too many times with that play, and it started doing nothing as the game went on. And I wish we would have ran in between the tackles a few more times, because I thought our offensive line, I'm going to give them some props, did really well in the run blocking. We averaged 4.7 yards per carry. Even if you take away Stark's big run, still going to put us around 4 yards a carry. I'll take that every game. I'm okay with that. Yeah. But what do you think about the pitch play?
I think you nailed around in the head as they went too many times. Lacy, first time they ran it, his long of the day was 17 yards. I think that was that pitch play that you're talking about to the left side. But what I really don't get is running that pitch play to the right side. He's got a tender right ankle, and that's the foot he's going to plant on. And you're pitching it to the side where his foot's, where he has the bad foot. Now, I guess I think you nailed it around the head. He just went to the well one too many times, and when it stopped working, they should have went up the middle a little bit more. Or what they could have done is went up the middle, have Starks and Lacy both in there, go up the middle of Starks and fake the pitch to Lacy, or have Cobb and Lacy or Cobb and Starks back there, go up, fake it up the middle, and do the pitch. But like you said, I think they just went to it one too many times, and the Bears caught on to it.
Yeah, I love the play, though. I really believe that that's a very good play. You make a good point. Going to the right, though, on that tender ankle, especially on that bad footing on Soldier Field. It'll be bad footing next week in Green Bay. He slips or tweaks that thing wrong, and now Lacy's out for the game. I mean, he got the 21 carries that we wanted, that we talked about. And we ran as a team for 160. And so I thought we did really well running the ball. And I'm okay. I noticed there, and I was watching the game, and I'm hearing people say, another run for 2 yards, pass the ball. Just because we have Rodgers back, I don't want him throwing the ball 50 times a game. It'll work. He'll be even better when we can establish a run. Yeah. Now, when Flynn was in the game, and you can say how you felt, but had this been a game where Flynn was the quarterback and we were rushing it for 2 yards, I might have been a little more concerned. But 3rd and 6, 3rd and 7, I feel that Rodgers can get that every time. Because it just seems like the play calling opens up. I got nervous on the 4th down plays, but it's like, okay, what are you dialing up, McCarthy? What are you going to give Rodgers right here to get the 1st down? And I'll tell you what, that last drive, it didn't look like Rodgers had missed a beat. Balls were on the money. That ball to Cobb, I mean, think about how wide open he was. Rodgers had to roll to his left. He could have very easily overthrew that ball, underthrew the ball. He put it right on the money. Right in stride for Cobb, and he went right into the end zone.
You know who gets a lot of credit for that? Him able to do that, John Kuhn, because Kuhn had a heck of a block on Julius Peppers that allowed Rodgers to escape the pocket and make that throw. And that's what you saw yesterday. You know, the difference between Rodgers and Flynn is there were a couple of times that, you know, Rodgers had to step up in the pocket and move around a bit in order to get the throw off, and he's able to do it and completes big passes down the field to Nelson. That's something that Flynn was struggling with, the escapability in the pocket, and that's one thing I'm glad the Rodgers didn't lose, is just that escapability. So we're at 7 minutes and 30 seconds left. Now, one thing I do want to touch on before we preview tomorrow is the most bizarre stat of the game is Rodgers had a fumble, which Julius Peppers forced, but Mr. Boykin recovered the fumble and went for the touchdown. In all your years of watching football, have you ever seen that happen before?
No, I haven't. And I'll tell you the story. We can tell each other a story. I do have the studio up, Evan, just so you know. It's just for some reason, my phone wouldn't recognize the pin. So I see everything you're seeing, and I don't know why I couldn't get in. But I was sitting there, and as soon as the play happened, I thought it was a fumble. From where I was watching, I thought it was a fumble, and I put my hands on my face and went, no. And then when I saw everybody stop running, I did one of those where I tilted my head back and just did oh, thank God, right? Because I thought it was a fumble. And then I'm like not paying attention, and I'm seeing him run in and hearing the announcers, and I'm like, what? And I'm like, holy cow. But no, I've never seen that before. Especially nobody going to the ball. I mean, it looked like Boykin was getting ready to toss that ball to the official. And what was the official going to do at that point? He was going to play like hot potato and say, I can't touch that ball. This is live play. So, we caught a break, a huge break there.
Yeah.
It clearly was a fumble, and I thought it was when he hit him. When I was watching the game, and I went, oh, no, you got to be kidding me. And then I saw everybody stop, and I thought it was incomplete. So I kind of relaxed, and then I'm like, touchdown? Awesome. That is just unbelievable. Yeah. But
when I saw it live, I thought incompletion, but then I saw the first replay, I'm like, no, that's a fumble. And I saw somebody, I forget who it was, tweet this out yesterday, but give Rodgers props just showing his intelligence. Boykin picks it up. Rodgers goes up to Boykin. He notices that the referees have not stopped the play. So rather than screaming at Boykin to run, he just nonchalantly tells him, go, run.
Yeah.
Run, go.
Yeah.
And Boykin runs it into the end zone. I think, that just shows you how intelligent Rodgers is as a quarterback.
Yeah, and he had that whole sideline screaming at him. But, yeah, you're right. If you would have started yelling at him, the defense would have been able to react. He just walked it right in. I know he jogged it in, but running. He then had nobody within 10 yards of him at that point. Everybody gave up on the play and said, "Hey, sometimes you got to catch those breaks to get a win." And I'm not. Again, you never apologize. That was a play. The Bears had a chance to get it. That I'm not sure who the Bear defender was. It went right by him. He could have scooped it right up, and he would have went the other way for a touchdown. And I personally thought, defensively, that you're supposed to pick up every loose ball and run it no matter what.
Yeah, and that used to be the Bears' style of defense. And, who would have thought that Rodgers would have committed 3 turnovers, would have had 2 interceptions and a fumble in the first half, and the Packers would be up 13-7. Now, with just about 4 minutes left to go, I just want to, just let our listeners know that tomorrow we're going to be on it'll be 1 o'clock Central, so 2 o'clock Eastern, and we're going to be previewing the Wisconsin Badgers bowl game against South Carolina. And we have Dave Radcliffe joining us. He's a lead writer for Badgers football at Bleacher Report, and he's also a freelancer at Yahoo Sports, covering both the Brewers and the Packers. So we're going to have him on talking about the Badgers bowl game against South Carolina, how the Badgers can win it, what would be the keys to victory for Wisconsin, and also talk about Gary Anderson's first year at Wisconsin. So that's an episode I'm very excited for. It's, Troy, I bleed Badger Red, so.
Oh, and so do I. I mean, I'm from Green Bay, and I grew up in the lean years where they were terrible and they were the bottom of the Big Ten. And when Barry Alvarez came in and turned that program around, I was all over it. I've been to Camp Randall many times. In my college days, Whitewater to Camp Randall is just an hour jaunt. I was there many times, spent many nights in Madison. A lot of my friends had went to college there. I went to Whitewater. They went to Madison. I spent many days in Camp Randall, and I love Badger football. And so I know Dave actually followed me on Twitter today, said my thank yous for being on the show. I'm looking forward to it myself. A lot of interesting things to talk about with him tomorrow. So I'm very excited about that episode also. I think it's going to be a great game against South Carolina. So I can't wait to talk tomorrow. A great week for us. Packers in the playoffs. Hey, did you see the YouTube video from the Badger players? Did you get a chance to see that?
Oh, yeah, that was fun to watch. It was hilarious. The Badger running back, you probably saw him in the front wearing a Matt Forte jersey, and while everyone's just jumping up and down celebrating, just kind of stands up, throws his water bottle on the ground, and walks off.
Yep, typical Bear fan right there. Typical Bear fan. That's all I'm going to say. But I don't know if you saw my tweet earlier, too. I was going over the YouTube channel, and I was looking at some of the comments. And on our page, there was, I can't use the word because, again, this is we try to keep it G-rated. But it was the F word to Rodgers. We're going to take him out again. And my response to him on our page, you and I don't get into verbal confrontations with people, not even callers that call in and use the F word. All I simply said is, happy holidays. That's all I said to him. It was great because that was before the game, and so now after I can just say happy holidays. And so, it was great to see that YouTube video. It's a great time in Wisconsin right now, and we get to talk to Dave tomorrow about Badger football. Hopefully they can come away with the bowl win. I know then, just so the fans know, we're not going to have an episode on New Year's Day, but we'll be back at you on Thursday with, of course, our Packer preview of the playoff game, which we're so excited for. And I know, Evan, you and I will probably talk after the show. Today was Black Monday in the NFL, and I think Friday's episode we're going to talk a little bit about the coaching scenarios that have happened. There could be a lot more things that happen between now and Friday, but I know you started the show, Bud, so I'm going to let you end it since I had technical difficulties.
Well, thank you to everyone that takes the time to listen to it. We appreciate it. Tell your family and friends to check out Light Sports Ramble. You can check us out on YouTube, find us on Twitter, eDubs 1250 Intern, Red Light Ramble, and just find us and give a listen. Thank you, and we will see you tomorrow at 2 o'clock Eastern. Thank you.
We'll see you all at the next red light. Have a great day.